Hello, I'm Morgan Saunders. I'm the Director of Safety for Holzer. I'm here to provide your safety orientation during your clinical time here. Our safety program starts with our incident reports. We have a lot of codes and a lot of processes that you could be part of during your clinical time. And so I'm here to prepare you for that. Feel free to ask questions of your clinical instructor or any manager or any staff member on the Holzer team, and they will help you during these situations. Our first piece of it, talk about incident reporting. Basically, if you're involved with an incident or you are involved with something like that, we want you to be part of our incident reporting process. Our incident reporting basically is for any unusual incident. Unusual incident is defined as any event outside routine hospital operations that compromise the safety of patients, visitors, employees, or property of the facility. It's a very broad definition and encompasses a lot. If one of those type of unusual incidents happen during your clinicals, we want you to quickly get with the nursing staff or the manager of the department that you're working on and get an incident report completed. Our incident reports go to our safety committee, they go to our HR group for any employee incidents, and then also down to our quality department for review. Our incident reporting system is called RL Solutions. So if you hear that term, you know that's incident reporting. You will be helped by the nursing staff to help do incident reports. You don't have a login, so you cannot log in, so a nursing staff person will have to help you get logged in to RL Solutions via our intranet page. Who completes an incident report? Any employee, in your case, any clinical employee or clinical staff member that witnesses, discovers, having knowledge of, or being involved with an unusual incident. Incidents occurring outside the facility but on the facility grounds will be completed by that employee or yourself as a clinical attendee, and then will be investigated by my security and safety staff. Again, so that will be examples like somebody breaking into your car, something that you maybe witnessed on the campus, something like that. Non-witness events outside the facility but on facility grounds, again, will be taken care of by security or the safety department. Non-witness events involving patients, as a clinical employee or clinical attendee, you will be involved with a lot. You could be involved with a lot of nursing incidents, so be ready for those. And again, get with your nursing staff or the manager there if you have an incident. Non-witness events involving visitors, you could be involved with some of those. Make sure you contact security or safety at that facility to help with that incident report and investigation. When do I complete an incident report? In your case, if you're not going to be here for several days, get that incident report done as quick as possible prior to ending your shift. But 72 hours is our policy, but we want that done as quick as possible. If it's something that's life-threatening, make sure you notify the nursing staff you're working with quickly, notify the nurse supervisor, and then on up to the nurse manager if need to. Some examples: injuries or accidents, or the potential for injuries or accidents, and the potential piece is very important. We do track near misses, and we want to know those potential incidents. Occupational injuries, illnesses, exposures to hazardous materials. If you're splashed in the face, if you have a needle stick, or some kind of back strain, or if you pull something during your clinical, please let us know as soon as possible and get that incident report done. Equipment failures or deficiencies, you want to make sure if something fails that's touching a patient to get it tagged out of service quickly, and again, let your nursing staff know that you're working with. Equipment user errors, medication incidents, pharmacy deals with that a lot. Pharmacy will be doing the follow-up and investigations of any medication incidents. Falls, lost or stolen damaged property. While you're on any Holzer facility, please make sure you secure your belongings. Theft can be challenging at times. Tests performed on wrong patients, orders not followed, transcribed, broken teeth or dentures. Incorrect instrument count, so if you're working in the OR or on OB, make sure you work with the staff there. If you have are involved with an incorrect instrument count. Pressure sores, violent situations with patients, visitors, or staff. If you're working in the ER, you could be in those situations, so we want to get those taken care of quickly. Bullying and any incidents involving inconsistencies with written hospital policy or procedures. Again, if something that happens that's not according to policy or procedure, we want an incident report done on those also. Going into our emergency preparedness section of the presentation, talking about different codes. You could hear a lot of different code responses overhead while you're here for clinicals. The one you probably will hear the most is our code red, or our fire response plan. We ask you to use the RACE acronym on how we want you to react and respond to those situations. R stands for rescue, remove anyone from the area. A for alert, pull the nearest fire alarm, and also call your emergency number. If you're at one of the acute facilities, one of the hospitals or the ER, it is 5333. If you're an ambulatory or a support services building, it is 911. C is for confine, close the doors. We want to limit the spread of fire and smoke. And then E for extinguisher, use on small fires. Please remember, when you're in our buildings and we have surveyors in the building, you could be asked what the fire response plan is. Please use your RACE acronym for that and try to explain that as best you can. Also, if we have a fire or a small fire within our building, we do ask you to get a fire extinguisher and use that. We use the PASS acronym on how we want you to use that fire extinguisher. P stands for pull the pin. A stands for aim the nozzle at the base of the fire. S for squeeze the trigger, and then S for sweep side to side. So pull, aim, squeeze, and sweep. Some general information, again, you're going to hear code red paged overhead. Please do not dial 0. A lot of new employees, a lot of clinical people have a tendency to call 0. Remember your emergency number, 5333 and 911. Any of these emergency codes I'm going to talk about, that is your emergency number. Again, 5333 or 911. The alarm system will alert the staff with strobe lights and horns. They're very loud. They have a strobe a piece to that. So if you see those strobes go off, you hear the horns go off, you need to react as quick as possible. Oxygen decisions are made by the charge nurse. So please understand that if we have a fire on a nursing unit and the oxygen needs to be shut off, it is the charge nurse on that unit's responsibility and authority to shut that off. Please, during a tour of the department, before you start your clinicals, look for the oxygen shutoffs. If the staff asks you to shut that off, you want to know where those are at. There is a nice explanation or instructions on how to shut that off. Basically, you're going to pull off a glass panel, and there's room numbers and shutoffs behind those that outlines where those are. We do run quite a few drills in our acute settings. We usually we'll do 1 drill per shift per quarter. If we're under construction, it'll be 2 drills per shift per quarter. If you are in one of the outpatient facilities or support services buildings, you will do 1 fire drill per quarter. So you might not be involved with those because of your limited time here. At the acute facilities and the hospitals, you could be involved with that. During a fire alert or drill, please help the staff clear the hallways. We do that way we have all 8 feet to work. If we do have an actual event, we do want to have the ability to evacuate the building and also have the fire service and the firefighters have enough room to work. So if you're out of your area, if you're down in the cafeteria or off the unit that you're working in that day, please stay put. Don't try to get up to the unit. Stay where you're at and wait for the event to clear. We have our bomb threat or our code black plan. We use the Homeland Security questionnaire. If you would be picking up the phone or get some kind of threat that involves a bomb, you want to get that information over to the staff as quick as possible. Try to keep the person on the phone and allow them to go through their procedures. Again, 5333 will be the emergency number for bomb threats. On our disaster plan, or code yellow, we have 2 different phases of that. Code yellow alert means we know something's out there but don't know a whole lot about it, and then we go to a code yellow if we're actually going to get patients or something that's going to affect our operations. We could ask you to help with some of those situations, but allow the nursing staff to give you direction on what they need you to do. We could ask you just to leave. That might be a possibility. Our next one's our Code Gray tornado plan. We have two different things we do. When we have a tornado watch, we'll notify some people. We'll kind of go on a little bit of a standby. And then if we have a tornado warning, we will start looking at how we're going to move patients. We will notify administrator on call and that staff to be ready just in case something happens. If we are in the path of a tornado and we are under tornado warning, we will start bringing patients to the center core of the area. So if you're here, we could ask you to help move patients to the center of the building. Make sure you close doors to the outside, and that limits the spread of glass and debris. Our next one is a weather emergency. Typically, we do not pick up clinical attendees or staff if we do have major weather, which is usually snow and flooding for Southeast Ohio. So my advice to you would be contact your clinical instructor and see if they need you to report to the facility. Our Code Blue, that's our medical emergency response. We have a Code Blue team. Usually clinical staff will not be on that team, so we do not need you to respond to Code Blues unless you are told to or unless you are asked to come with some of the nursing staff. We do have a rapid response process. If you hear rapid response and you're with a CCU staff member or a respiratory therapist staff member, you could be responding to the rapid response teams. Code Brown's a missing adult patient. If we have a patient that's either missing or we're not able to locate them within the building, we will call a Code Brown. We ask you to kind of be looking for the person, look in the hallways, look into bathrooms and that kind of stuff. Help the staff do their search procedures. You will hear a description of that person overhead. Our infant child abduction, or Code Adam, we do take those very, very seriously. If we have a missing or abducted pediatric or small infant, we'll call that overhead. We do ask you to start looking for areas, looking for the baby, looking in bags. You are allowed to ask somebody to look in their bag. If they say no, please ask again. If they don't, please report that to the safety department as quick as possible. That way we can make a contact with that person. Please follow them. If they go outside to a car, get the license plate, get the make and model of the car and the color of the car and which way it goes off the property. Our Code Greens are evacuation plan. We would try to evacuate horizontally first. So we go from one side of the building to the other as quick as possible. As a clinical attendee, we could ask you to help with that move. So just take direction from the nursing staff and they will kind of help you or show you what they need to do. If we do have a major incident, we need to get down and out of the building, we will go to a vertical evacuation. So you'll be asked to help move patients down and out of the building. We do have the silver plates that are on the outside of the patient rooms. If you help with an evacuation out of that room, shut the door and pull the E down. That helps us track what patients have been evacuated. Our Code Violet is a violent combative situation, especially in our ER and some of our geri psych areas. We do have a tendency to have some violence, so we do have a Code Violet team that responds to the situations. Call 5333 or call 911 for local law enforcement to get that team to your area as quick as possible. We use a nonviolent crisis intervention tactics, so we try to verbally de-escalate situations as quick as possible. If that don't work, then we'll go to other things. We do have a Code Silver plan, which is a person with a weapon or active killer within our building. We use the ALICE tactics on how we want you to respond. A stands for alert. Again, your emergency number is 5333 or 911. L is for lockdown. Stay in place, create barriers between you and the outside or between you and the threat, and stay put. Inform, provide information as best as possible. Make sure you silence your phone if you have your cell phone on you during these situations, and get information out as quick as possible and as best as possible and as accurate as possible. Counter is actually physically countering against that person. If you're face to face with a person that has just hurt or has a threat toward you, counter against that person as best as possible. Throw things at them. Try to find a weapon as best as possible. Scissors, hemostats, pencils, pens, whatever you can get. Evacuate, if you can, evacuate out of the area, but most of the time in healthcare, you're going to stay put and defend in place. Situations that might arise because of an active shooter or an active killer, situations like domestic violence, employee incidents, a lot of different things can drive those things happening. Don't hesitate, react immediately. Some other things we talk about is our code orange or facility lockdown. The threats outside, we're going to lock down our buildings similar to what schools do. So please, you stay put, create those barriers between you and the outside. Code pinks a pediatric or maternity services emergency. If you're working with a respiratory therapist or one of the code blue team members, you could respond with a code pink. Code hazmat, basically we're going to set up our hazmat team outside of our ER. This is for a patient or a victim that has a hazardous material on them. We will decon them and get them treated. Some other things we talk about is code white or utilities outage. Basically, if we have a water outage or power outage, IT, telecom, we're going to call it a code white, and that tells you there's some kind of utility that is interrupted. Next piece of our orientation talks about hazardous materials. Basically, you have a right to know what's around you, but you also have an obligation to ask. So we're going to give you as much information as we can, but if you don't feel comfortable with some kind of chemical or some type of liquid that's around you, please ask and we'll remove it from the area, or we will educate you on what it is. Some types of chemicals that you might see, definitely cleaners, chemicals, some type of cleaning agents you're going to see quite a bit from environmental services. Radioactive, you're working in radiology, of course you know the risks there. Make sure you have a dosimeter in those areas. Infectious waste, blood, needles, bandages, that's what you're probably going to see most of the time in the clinical settings. So just protect yourself, make sure you wear gloves, make sure you have as much protection as you need. Alcohols, cleaners, oxidizers, anything like that. Where to obtain information or find information, make sure you look at the label. Label on the bulk containers is very important. Make sure you read SDS sheets. Most of those are located in the housekeeping closets on each unit. Call me if you have any questions. On hazardous materials, again, talking about routes of entry into your body, inhalation, absorption, ingestion. Make sure you understand those routes of entry and how you can protect against those. Wear your respirators, PPE, N95s if it calls for that, gowns, gloves, eye protection, shields, face shields, anything like that. You're going to go with the lead of the nursing staff. Make sure you ask them what they would be using and use the same thing or more. Some general information about spills within our building. Notify environmental services very quickly if you have a spill, and we'll come up with cleanup kits and basically get that situation contained as quick as possible and get it cleaned up. This is not a code hazmat. When purchasing chemicals, make sure you talk to the manager if they're purchasing something that's above what they need to be. Let them know. Some precautions, make sure if you're storing or if you're helping clean things up, if you're helping organize things, make sure you store these chemicals in an adequately secure place that has adequate ventilation. Make sure you don't put things that react together. When you're disposing of chemicals, don't just put them down the sink. Make sure you dispose of them properly. Talking about the hazmat team a little more, you might see that process on TV or something like that. We do decon patients outside of our ER, and we do have the equipment to do that all of our emergency departments. Talking about utilities very briefly, we do have plans for oxygen outages, for water outages, for electrical outages, something like that. Make sure if you have something that is life-threatening or life-supporting, plug it into the red outlet. That will make sure that's running during any power outage. We do have plenty of these generators around our organization that can keep our buildings running during a power outage. If you have something that touches the patient, make sure it has a little sticker on it, whether it's green or orange or some type of color. It needs to have an adequate check date on it, should be within the year. If it is not, do not use it on the patient. Tag it out, send it down to Biomed via the maintenance department, and they will get it checked and get it back to you. If you have something that's defective, use the defective equipment tag. Ask the nursing staff about where you can get those tags. Get them filled out. Write what's wrong with them. Write the extension of the unit you're working on that day and what date it is. Thank you for being a clinical attendee here at Holzer. Again, my name is Morgan Saunders, Director of Safety. If you ever have any safety or security concerns, please call my department at 740-446-5000 and ask for the safety department. Thank you and have a great time.